Howdy, folks. I'm back. Um, well, I work tonight, so I decided to do maybe a video or two before I go to work. But having that said, when I get up in the late mornings, usually, um, I usually that's when I try to get my workout out of the way real quick. As I was getting up on around noonish, um, I just getting all my gym clothes and toiletries ready and taking my morning prescription, my morning medication, and then getting on the road. And as a means of trying to be open minded and being politically engaged, I listen to all sides of the spectrum. And there are times over the years, I've heard conservatives who are big Rush Limbaugh fans, when they hear me get critical of Rush Limbaugh, they'll be like, "Ah, I bet you never listen to Rush Limbaugh a day in your life." Got news for you, Jack, to kind of paraphrase Joe Biden. Um, I got news for you. I probably listen to Rush Limbaugh, unfortunately, as much as your typical ditto head out there. The retired 65 to 75 to 80-year-old white angry Trump supporter that has nothing better to do than to listen to Rush Limbaugh 3 hours a day. I probably listen. I mean, I don't listen to him all 3 hours, but if I'm in the car, I usually will listen just to hear what he has to say, just to be engaged. I listen to probably right wing radio as often as I do listen to left wing independent media. I listen to left wing independent media not only because of confirmation bias, but they're correct. But the right wing talk radio circuit are pretty much all wrong, and their arguments are so easily destructible. I mean, the straw mans that could be created to tear them down. It's amazing how right wing talk radio, they can't make it on their own. They have to be corporately backed to make it on their own. So, yeah, when Ben Shapiro spouts his bullshit, and he spouts his bullshit, it gets heard because he's got corporate dollars behind him that make sure his diarrhea is exposed to the American the political landscape. Someone like Kyle Kalinske, or someone like Jimmy Dore, or Tim Black, who I've been listening to quite a bit lately, or someone like Kim Iverson. They have to work on this on their own, and they're gaining they're gaining an audience too. And they've done it by their own damn strong work ethic and merits. Any they didn't have any Koch brothers money behind them, what have you. And I know what I'm talking about by corporate dollars and media companies pushing an agenda. When he was doing talk radio, conservative talk radio, one of the conservative talk radio's hosts that I could halfway tolerate, and he was wrong on most things, but he was kind of socially liberal, was Neil Bortz. And he was on his radio show. Basically, they told him the Salem Media Group were trying to get a contract and trying to have his programs launch under their company. And he did have a little bit of integrity and turned down, I guess, a very generous financial package, because even though he was speaking as a libertarian, and I hate economics by libertarians. The economics sucks, and I hate what they have to say on economics. And he was kind of an establishment Republican when it came to things like the Iraq War, and unfortunately torture, and unfortunately spying and all of that. But he still had a little bit of integrity when it came to social issues. And the Salem Media Group, I believe that's what they were called at the time, basically want him to spouse religious right nonsense. Basically, gays are bad. That prayer in school. We Christians are being attacked, kind of mantra, and you know Neil Bortz basically is a middle of the road, kind of a low church Episcopalian that is socially moderate and but has enough of a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant kind of heritage that prompt him to support such Calvinistic views as libertarian economics and all that, and not sitting there knocking down Calvin because I have a good friend of mine up in Billings, Montana, who's a United Church of Christ minister, Dwight Welch, who is a strong Calvinist and a very, very, very strong social democratic ideologue as well. So I mean, there is left Calvinism and right wing Calvinism, and when it comes to economics, Neil Bort's kind of veer toward right wing economics. But I'm kind of meandering out of all over the place as I normally do. As I normally say in these commentaries, let me get to the meat and potatoes of all this. Uh, Today, October 27th, 2020, I was briefly listening to Rush Limbaugh before as my car was coming into the parking lot into the local Planet Fitness where I work out every day. I may still look kind of swollen up, and because of COVID, the gyms are closing down. I may look out of shape and everything. Boys and girls, give it a little bit. Give me a couple of months, and you will see it. You'll see me as I transform. You don't believe me? Just watch my videos every day. Subscribe, and you can see for yourself the progress is going to be made, and progress will be made. I'm not going to be more attractive. I can't take away personal appearance. I'm going to be ugly no matter what, but I'm going to be thinner and healthier again. But anyway, as I was going into the Planet Fitness, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh, and driving into the parking lot, and he was sitting there talking about his support for Amy Coney Barrett. Now, I disagree with Amy Coney Barrett being confirmed and sworn in and being the justice to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg for the U.S. Supreme Court. I obviously disagree with that on on social issues get around. She's too socially conservative. I disagree with it on economic grounds because she's going to be bad on labor rights. And pretty much she's going to serve the agenda of Trump. Now, recently, a couple of weeks ago, uh, Tate Infante, who is who's kind of doing his program from a libertarian paleo conservative perspective. He was right when he responded to one of my videos to say that she might be a center right conservative in the court. That might be correct, but for me, center right is too far right. In by With the American political Overton window, center right is too far right for me. I'm not a down the road and down the line lefty on 100% of the issues, but from my unique perspective, I have a homegrown Americanized left libertarian worldview combined with your redundant economic big status style Western European socialism, and that's kind of how I operate politically. But what I'm saying is that even though she's going to be center right, that's still too far right. I mean, just I mean, the Obama justices were too far right for me, and I mean, I would like to see the Supreme Court go back to the days of Earl Warren. And I'm not being partisan because Earl Warren was a Republican, but the Supreme Court during the Warren era expanded individual rights for American, expanded free speech rights, right to privacy. Um, you know, uh, it was the greatest expansion of civil liberties during the American history. uh, and not even mentioning racial equality, where the that particular court went leaps and bounds for equality for African Americans, starting with Brown Board versus Board of Education in 1954. But getting back to what I was saying, yes, I'm not going to go necessarily fault Rush Limbaugh for supporting Amy Coney Barrett. Um, Rush Limbaugh got his point of view that I extremely disagree with. But he's entitled to his views. He's entitled to be as partisan as he wants to be. I mean, personally, it irritates me that people fall for it, but he's got a right to do it because, just in case any Rush Limbaugh fans and movement conservatives listening in this audience, I am more of a free speech whore than Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Mark Levin claim to be. They claim to be for free speech. That's bollocks. They're not. I am. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So Rush Limbaugh decided to criticize lefties for opposing Barrett. Now, as I said, I disagree with Rush Limbaugh for supporting Barrett, but I support his premise, his right to support it, even though I disagree with him on ideological grounds. But the shoe is on the other foot too. Lefties, people on the everybody from Clintonian style corporate Democrats who are too far right from my perspective, all the way down to left wing ultra weirdos like Bob Avakian from the Revolutionary Communist Party, a Maoist crackpot, and everyone in between. Whether they're Ralph Nader supporters, Bernie Sanders supporters, supporters of supporters of you know mildly liberal Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, or supporting what have you. I'm talking about the whole gamut, what it means to be on the center left, all the way to the extreme crazy far left. Um, all of us who oppose Barrett, we have our nuances and different reasons for doing so, but damn it, we got a right to be opposed. That's and for Rush Limbaugh to claim and use identity politics. I'm a leftist, and I do look at people as individuals. Now, I look at past injustices such as racism, sexism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and all the other bigotries that have existed in American history and existed everywhere around the world, and look at it as a great evil. Everybody who lives and breathes air, every man and woman on this planet throughout humanity has a right to equality and should be treated equally in any civil society that exists. And I stand by it. And collectively, if they're done wrong, collectively they should be granted rights. At the same time, I don't suffer from this guilt complex of, oh, I'm a white guy. I'm evil. I'm sorry for being white. I'm sorry for being straight. I'm sorry for being a Christian. I'm sorry for being, I'm not. I don't do that either. I support. I support the liberations of all people. Now, I'm not going to sit there and hate myself and hate what I am because of it. But the Rush Limbaughs out there want you to think that all these guilt-ridden white liberals hate themselves, and they're going to go and support every minority group, no matter what, individually, what have you, and then they go and accuse the liberal left of being sexist because they don't oppose that, because they don't support Amy Coney Barrett. But here's the caveat, and the caveat is this: I don't care if Amy Coney Barrett is a woman. I wouldn't care if she was a man. I wouldn't care if Amy Coney Barrett was transgender. I don't care. That is irrelevant. What's relevant is the ideology. the policy positions. That's what's relevant. So what Rush Limbaugh is doing, he's doing the same bullshit that the Hillary Clinton people did in 2016 and kind of encouraged in 2020 when they campaigned against Bernie Sanders. Oh, well, Bernie Sanders, he's not a woman. He's not of color. I mean, and then aside from the fact that Bernie Sanders, if he would have been nominated and would have won in 2016 or would win in a few weeks if he was the nominee, would make history as the first Jewish president. That is just as relevant as Barack Obama being the first black president, and it would be it would be just as relevant if in the future we have a female president. It would all be equal in that regard, and it's all good when it happens. But the point is, he's engaging in that kind of bullshit that he accuses corporate Democrats of doing with the oppression Olympics and all of that. And and still it's worse with is in a way it's worse with Rush Limbaugh. It's bad enough when the corporate Democrats do it. It's worse with Rush Limbaugh because he's a hypocrite for doing it, and also what differences that exist between the corporate Democrats headed by Hillary Clinton and the movement conservatives that Rush Limbaugh favors would be some mild social issues and maybe even some economic issues, maybe like maybe some tax policies that favor the poor middle class on the corporate Democrat side, or favoring gay marriage or what have you when it comes to social issues and everything like that. The corporate Democrats are going to be mildly better. And but so the point I'm trying to make is that Rush Limbaugh is a hypocrite for using identity politics to push his campaign, especially since he's lectured people on the left, the milquetoast fake left, and the real left, and the loony left over the years over this. See, when it comes to me and my politics, I'm not going to look at somebody and say, well, this candidate, I'm going to, I mean, okay, you know, look at it this way. I look at, I'm not going to look at somebody because of what they are and base my support for them because of what they are. In the 2008 Democratic primaries, I did not support Barack Obama. I was originally a Dennis Kucinich supporter. And the reason I was a Dennis Kucinich supporter back then was because of policy. I chose Bernie Sanders in 2016 over Hillary Clinton, not because he was a white male. It was because of policy. Hillary Clinton, take away some mild social issues that she's liberal on, you could just dump her into the never Trumper wing of the Republican Party. She fit right in. I'm not going to sit there and if I'm going to sit there and have to vote for a minority because they're a minority and they have shitty policies, that's silly. You think I'm going to go and support Sarah Palin or Michelle Bachmann because they got a vagina? Really? I mean, you think that I'm going to look at Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court and be like, "Oh, he's black. That's all that matters." No, I'm not going to do that. Now, I don't give a flying fuck if a female votes Republican, or if an African American votes Republican, or a Jew votes Republican, or a gay person votes Republican. I don't do that. I'm going to criticize anybody on policy, whether they're a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant or whether they're a minority or disenfranchised group. That's what matters to me. That's what matters to me. What I don't go and vote for identity. I do it based on policy. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And identity politics is when it's being weaponized, it usually bites the left back in the ass. And somebody whose politics is based on what is good for everybody, and that always means racial equality. It means that we that yeah, we're a predominantly Christian society, the United States. The average American that's religious is Christian, no doubt about that. But you know what? We have religious freedom based on the First Amendment, that we are not to have a national church. And that means, contrary to what some social conservatives are saying, when I hear them say, yeah, we're supposed to have freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Well, listen, freedom of religion also means freedom from religion. And the government needs to be religiously neutral and not parlay favoritisms, or otherwise, we're some Middle Eastern theocracy, you know? When it comes to sexual orientation, it is the business of the two consenting adults, or two or more consenting adults, behind closed doors, what they want to do. It is not the business of Rush Limbaugh and Pat Robertson and John Hagee and Mike Pence on what adults do behind closed doors. And this is why I make it no secret that I defend LGBTQ equality. It shouldn't be ever been controversial. It's one of those positions. I mean, I defend LGBTQ equality. Yeah, I was, as a civil libertarian. If some preacher wants to be obnoxious and in a fiery sermon talk about how they don't like gay people, whatever. Well, just look at that person as an ignoramus, and just deal with that. But when it comes to issues dealing with individuals, that's what I favor. And I favor a society where there's racial equality, religious equality, sexual orientation equality, a society that is secular, pluralistic, a civil society, a society where ordinary people, if they graduate from high school or college, gets a job or a career, and they can work there for 25, 30, 35 years with all the job security and great health benefits, long vacation time, and a wonderful retirement. Um, that American dream that doesn't exist anymore, but kind of still exists in Canada, kind of exists in Norway, Sweden. I like to bring that shit back in the United States. But anyway, just ironic that Rush Limbaugh will engage in identity politics. Very, very, an atrocious man. Sorry he has cancer, and just, but he fucking triggered me today. Rush Limbaugh did. Anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were triggered, comment anyway. Um, share the content on this channel if you wish. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you that if you feel passionate about something and have a platform or desire to build a platform, please do so and utilize it, because we're all the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, help make this channel grow. Press that like button. Ain't gonna hurt you. I am American social democracy. And until next time, peace and Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024.